Hey everyone, welcome back to the Craft Parenting Podcast, the podcast about two Cincinnati craft beer lovers with a parenting problem. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Joe Ludwig, and with me is my lovely wife and co-host, Caroline.
Hey.
How's it going?
Good.
We're here.
We are here.
We made it to Tuesday.
Whoop, whoop.
We are recording this the Tuesday before it releases, so hopefully it releases on time.
Because we're awesome.
The kids are actually behaving, and we decided to record. So you get an episode this week, lucky listener.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be honest, we don't really have a solid single topic, so it's kind of going to be a little rambly.
Ramble on my wayward podcaster. You'll have an episode when you are done. I don't know. Julia's a lot better at this than I am.
The Ramble On was a reference to a Led Zeppelin song.
Which one?
It's called Ramble On.
Well, yeah, but like, what's the tune? Because it's not ringing a bell right now.
I'm not going to sing it.
3 days later.
There's an ad.
Okay. I recognize it.
Or we can get banned now.
Maybe. We'll see.
I will say, certain podcasts who are not hosted on Spotify do use music without a license.
They do.
They are more.
I have video evidence now that Josh is doing okay, but after the most recently posted as of this recording episode of Shift Beers that was just Josh and Chris had a lot of singing in it. I don't know if the robots would pick up that they were songs because they were a little drunk while they were singing.
You can sing songs. You can't play the music necessarily. You could argue fair use though. I mean, you can argue it, but you might lose. I guess that's always the way it might go. So we are going to be rambling on, but first, we'll be right back. Hey everyone, Joe Ludwig here with the one and only Caroline.
Hey!
Before we get to the main topic of today's episode, we wanted to pause briefly and tell you about how you can support the show.
So if you enjoy listening to the podcast and reading our blog posts every week, then you now have the opportunity to support the show through Buy Me a Coffee. Here's what you need to know. It's super easy to do. You don't have to set up an account to contribute. You have options. Send us a one-time donation or sign up as a member to contribute on a monthly or yearly basis. Plus, you can unlock exclusive content.
To learn more about how you can support the Craft Parenting Podcast through Buy Me a Coffee, click the link in the show notes. And now, back to the show. One of these days I'll get better about that transition.
No, you won't. It'll still be fun.
You should definitely go to Buy Us a Coffee because we like coffee.
We do, and I desperately need coffee most mornings. I did not have coffee this morning, and by 2 p.m. I was like, this is terrible. Why did I do this?
Don't you have a tea pot?
I do, but at that point I was just like, I'm not making tea. I was supposed to make tea before I left the house, and I didn't.
Well, anyway, so we have adult beverages in front of us. Caroline, what are you drinking?
I am currently drinking a Gill, or German Irish lager from Westside Brewing.
It's the last of the 6-pack.
It is 5.5% ABV and 18 IBUs.
Makes me sad.
You drank 5 of them.
I know.
I'm just glad that I got one of them. Because those finished real fast.
That was my St. Patrick's Day. Hey, you got the Bach beer.
I did.
So I saved you Bach beer.
I like me some Bach beer. What are you drinking?
Well, I am drinking a River Castle Amber Ale by 13 Below. It's 5.8% ABV. It doesn't say what the IBU is, but it's tasty.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like a middle of the road amber, but the ABV is kind of up there for an amber, so it'll bite you if you're not careful. For an American amber, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
This is probably on par with like more of the German beers. Like if you go to Germany, those are like 6%.
Yeah.
That's like the typical ABV. I mean, don't get me wrong, there are like lighter beers in Germany, but if you just say lager, it'll be 5, 8-ish, 6-ish. I mean, they serve those by the liter, but this is a pint.
As beer should be served.
Pints, yeah. Beer should be served in pints, not this 11.2%
liters.
stuff. Oh, liters?
Beer should be served by the liter.
Oh, okay. That too. But in America, they should be served by the pint. My opinion.
Or liter.
So, Caroline, you went into the field.
I did. I was on the scene. I got the scoop.
Mm-hmm.
So because we try to rotate out events where only one of us can go to them, it was my turn to go to an event. And I got to go to Fibonacci Brewing's pie eating contest on Pie Day, which was a Tuesday this year. So I went from work to the Central Corridor, is what they call it. And I got to go to Fibonacci Brewing for Pie Day.
I've never heard of that. Central Corridor.
Well, yeah, that's who they said was competing, and it was people from the Central Corridor. Because it was Urban Artifact, Brink, Fibonacci Brewing, Higher Gravity, and
Humble Monk.
Yeah, Humble Monk. That were all competing in the pie eating contest. Plus a random child, because they had an extra pie. And I made the good decision to not compete in the pie eating contest because I had already eaten my pizza pie dinner.
Oh, yeah.
And I could hear Joe in my head saying, "Don't do it. You are going to deeply regret it. You won't be able to drink any more beer if you try to eat a whole pie."
I have photographic evidence sent to me by a spy at the event of you double fisting.
That did happen at one point in the night. So I got a pizza pie from their food truck because it's Pie Day, so everything had to be pie related. And I started.
And what is pie?
Pi is 3.141579. It goes on for a few decimal points into infinity.
Okay.
It is the mathematical number for how you calculate dimensions with circles. So when you take how you get from the diameter of a circle to the circumference of a circle is you need to multiply it by pi. So it's a very fancy math number.
It's a button on my calculator, in other words.
It is a button on your calculator usually. I once had a math teacher that had a flub where she said that 3 was bigger than pi. And we were all like, wait, what? And she's like, oh, sorry, my bad. Rounding error in my head. And because Fibonacci Brewing is very much into math things, being that they do a lot of stuff with the Fibonacci sequence and how that's all to do with nature, because a lot of things in nature follow the Fibonacci sequence. They celebrate math and like earthy based holidays because they just had a big party for the summer solstice as well, or the spring solstice.
The equinox.
That one, yeah, the spring equinox. My brain is not functioning at full capacity right now.
They do celebrate those though.
Yes.
There's the spring equinox, which means that there's equal light in day.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, it just gets more light.
Correct.
Because we're getting into summer, spring and summer.
Yeah.
And then there's the fall equinox, which is the same thing but opposite.
Mm-hmm.
It gets darker and darker after the fall equinox.
So I know I'm missing some beers, but I don't exactly remember what I had. I had their Fiddlehead Bock, which is 5% ABV and light amber in color with light sweetness. Light hop bitterness balances a malt backbone with notes of bread, caramel, and honey. So Bockfest is a yearly celebration of Cincinnati's German brewing roots and specifically Bock-style beers. Goats have become associated through the German translation of the word, and we happen to have 2 goats on the property. This beer is in honor of our goat Fiddlehead. I had another beer, but I don't remember what it was. I want to say it was their coffee beer. It was like a blonde stout kind of deal.
Okay.
And then I had their Prunus, which is a milk stout with cherries. That was one of the beers that I was double fisting.
Why were you double fisting?
Because it was time to go outside for the pie eating competition. And Marco had to go to the bathroom, but everybody else was going outside. So I carried Marco's beer outside.
Okay.
So I was holding my beer and Marco's beer.
Is that when Julia chugged his beer? Oh, no, you guys chugged Julia's beer.
No, everybody else chugged Julia's beer, and that was after the pie eating contest. So the beer of the night, quote unquote, was Prunus, their milk stout with cherries, because they had cherry pie at the pie eating contest. And Prunus is 6.6% ABV and is dark brown in color. Tart cherries steadily complement the roasty malts. Very easy drinking with the creamy finish from the lactose. And the name comes from Prunus is the genus to which cherries belong. Because they get very sciencey with their names. Because that was my third beer of the night. And then I had their Goza, but I only did a taster glass. And I can't find it on their website, so I don't remember exactly what it was. And then to finish off the night, I had another sample glass of honey, their barrel-aged Doppelbock, which is 10% ABV. Dark brown and amber color with moderate sweetness, aged in a new Riff rye whiskey barrel, lending whiskey and oak characteristics. This beer has a heavy malt backbone with notes of bread, caramel, and honey. And then the name origin is from Bockfest is a yearly celebration of Cincinnati's German brewing. Bockfest is a yearly celebration of Cincinnati's German brewing roots, and specifically Bock-style beers. Goats have been associated through the German translation of the word, and we happen to have 2 goats on our property. This beer is in honor of our goat, Honey.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. So I had lots of beers, and they were all very tasty. Fibonacci Brewing is on fire.
Not literally.
Not literally. Like, the beers are really tasty. At first, when I got there, because the gnome was officiating the event, I wasn't sure whether or not Julia and Marco were going to show up because it was Tuesday, and that's when they record their podcast. But then I also realized that we were the only podcast that they had to talk about because we were the only beer-related podcast in my podcast feed that had put out episodes over the last week. So they had recorded at Brink and then came over to Fibonacci because they're right down the street from each other. So I got to hang out with Julia, Marco, Julia's Josh, and the gnome. Got to see lots of people in the beer industry with their children because they all come out with their kids when they can go to Fibonacci so their kids can see some goats.
Yeah, but it's outside, so the weather has to be nice.
Yeah, so we were all inside, except the pie eating contest was outside because Betty said they did the pie eating contest inside one year and people were standing on the chairs, which was kind of fine. But then they were also standing on the tables, which was not fine because the tables were definitely not meant to be stood on. And she didn't want anyone to get hurt. So no matter what, the pie eating contest was going to be outside.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a very small brewery.
It is.
And you don't even see the equipment, do you?
No, because it's all in the basement.
It's all in the basement. So it's like a little farmhouse. And I guess they have 2 tap rooms.
They do, because they have...
Like one's for like private space. It's private event.
Well, they have their main tap room, and then they have the farmhouse tap room. Because the main tap room's more like a Cape Cod style house, and the other house is more of like a farm style house. And there's also an Airbnb.
Yes. I haven't been in the farmhouse one.
I have not either. But it's right next to all the goats.
Yes, it is. And then they have this beautiful beer garden.
They do. And so
which Lily and Elliot both loved running around.
Yes, they really did.
And dancing. And they have a stage.
Mm-hmm. So the pie eating contest was on the stage. They had fires going because it was pretty cold outside. Julia's, Josh, and myself worked on making our fire better. And then Josh got real sad because we're like, okay, it's time to go inside. And he's like, but I just got the fire going real good. I'm like, no, we need to snag a table before somebody else does because there aren't many tables. So the pie eating contest was interesting because you have to eat a whole cherry pie. And
how big was the cherry pie?
It's like a standard-ish size pie.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
And for the first time in the history of the event, and I think the event's like 6 years old, they had a woman compete in the pie eating contest. So Maggie competed for Urban Artifact, and she came in second.
Come on, Brink.
Andy was just good to be there. He was not super stoked to eat a whole pie, but he tried. And then
where did these pies come from?
North College Hill Bakery.
Oh.
Yeah, so right down the street. Everything was very local. Humble Monk won again. It's the second or third year in a row that Humble Monk has won with the same competitor. The guy who competed for Higher Gravity has ideas on strategy for how he can do better or win next year because it was his first year competing.
Okay.
So
is that Jason?
No. Jason was there, but it was not Jason that was eating the pie. Jason ate the pie last year.
Okay. They draw straws.
Potentially, yeah. I got to learn about how it's very annoying when you get pie in your beard because it's hard to get out. And that there is strategy that you need to have for a pie eating contest. If you can, you need to get the pie out of the tin and upside down so you're eating the crust first.
Yeah, because your hands are tied.
Yeah, because your hands have to stay behind your back.
They're not tied, but they're behind you.
Yeah,
right?
You're not allowed to use your hands in any way. You're not allowed to have water during the competition.
Why not?
That's just one of the rules that they have for it.
It's a weird rule.
Yeah, and they definitely move the tables because it's just plastic tables on the stage. So, like, when they stand up, like, somebody bumps into the table, and then all of a sudden the table's almost going off the stage. Somebody has to help steady the table.
Like, as a kid, I remember, because my mom was creative, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I remember for, like, birthdays, you would hang up a pie tin with whipped cream, and you would try to find the bubble gum.
Yeah. And then you have to chew the bubble gum, and whoever blew a bubble first would win.
Yeah. And that was hard enough. I can't imagine a pie because, like, how do you even get into it? Like,
with your face?
Yeah, you have to.
You just get all up in there. Because one of the guys said, yeah, the pie tastes okay. Because you're not really trying to, like, taste the pie. You're just consuming the pie until you get it up your nose. And then it tastes terrible because you have pie up your nose.
Those are real cherries, too.
Yes, real cherries.
So it's
real pie.
Really tart, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure it burns.
Yeah.
If it gets up your nose.
Yeah, so we managed to get a table after the pie eating contest. And Julia, like, we got a new round.
Was there a lot of people there first?
It was very busy. It was very packed.
Really?
Yes.
People go to pie eating contests?
Yes.
On Pie Day?
Yes. There were lots of people there. It was standing room only.
Outside?
Inside.
Yeah.
There were a lot of people outside too. I think I've got a photo somewhere of the crowd. But Julia started talking to somebody about tattoos. And so she had her back turned to us, and we're just all chit-chatting. And Josh was like, oh, it'd be really funny if I swapped our beers, because they were very different beers, to see if Julia would notice. And took a sip of her beer and liked his beer more than her beer. So he changed his mind and went to swap the beer back. And then someone said, well, no, it would be really funny as if you drank a bunch of her beer to see if she notices when she turns around that like a third of her beer is missing. So Josh drank a third of her beer. And then Marco drank a third of her beer.
Marco or Darko?
Marco, borderline Darko. And then the gnome finished the beer.
Okay.
And it took 5 minutes for Julia to notice that her beer was empty. And the only reason why she noticed that her beer was empty was because one of the bartenders walked around and said, oh, can I take any of these empties? Do you guys want another round? And Julia turned around and said, no, I'm good. Oh, I guess I need another beer.
Wow.
And I was like, 5 minutes, guys. It took her 5 minutes to notice.
Well,
but in her defense, it was a very interesting tattoo conversation.
I'm sure it was. And it's probably for the better if 3 people drank her beer.
Yeah.
It was probably less beer and more backwash.
Yeah, I would not have wanted to drink that beer in the first place.
Okay, so Fibonacci.
Yeah.
They
I did not bring
have
home
goods.
to-go beers because we have a ton of beers, and I was told, please don't bring beers home.
I'm trying to clean it. I'm trying to rotate the beer fridge.
Yeah, we're working on it, kind of. So that is my on-the-field reporting.
On the field reporting. So we did something kind of dumb the other day.
Yeah, one could argue that it was real dumb.
So we were it was a Saturday night. And we were like, well, we don't have anything for dinner. And this is kind of a problem. So
We're all
like,
very hungry.
We're very hungry. Let's go to 13 Below. It's down the street.
It'll be yummy. And it was yummy.
There typically isn't a huge crowd there. Okay? But we typically...
The majority of the times that we go there is not a huge crowd.
But we also typically do not go on a Saturday.
Yeah, we go on like Fridays or weekdays.
I think we've gone on like a Sunday too.
Yeah.
So we were dumb. We brought 2 hungry, tired kids to 13 Below. And it was the beginning of March Madness, or maybe it was the tournament before March Madness.
Like the last of the games before.
Yeah, to determine the rankings. They have to play a tournament.
Yeah.
Like a divisional tournament.
I don't know how any of that works.
And that's how they get their ranking in the bracket. So I think that was going on. Xavier was in it, was playing. This was 2 Saturdays ago at this point. And there was a baby shower there.
There was.
It took up probably 2/3 of the brewery.
I'd say a third. A third to half of the brewery. And then the other people were not people associated with the baby shower.
Okay, and then there was a live band there, which was awesome. The band was awesome.
Yeah, they were lots of fun.
There were lots of kids there.
A ton of kids there.
And we found a booth. They recently redid their booths, I guess, because we went there a couple months ago, and they were like standard booths there, right, with the table at normal height.
I think so, yeah.
So they must have switched out the tables, and the tables were like 3 feet tall.
They were itty bitty tables. They were like coffee tables.
Yeah, which is fine if you just want to put your beer there, right? It's not fine.
Is it though?
Well, it's not fine if you have 2 very rambunctious toddlers
that just want to run
Yeah, and
wreak havoc.
yeah. So we kind of inserted ourselves into this booth. No one was there. It was in the middle of the baby shower.
Yeah.
Most of the people were watching the basketball game.
It was a Xavier game, and Xavier was not doing so hot.
Well, I was wearing my UC garb.
I think we both were.
Yeah. Whoops. I make no apologies, though.
Zero regrets.
Zero regrets. Bearcats all the way. Although I have not been following their March Madness journey.
They're going to the Sweet 16.
Who are they?
Yeah.
Good for them.
I should probably wear my Xavier gear to work tomorrow, if I can find it.
What, Xavier or UC?
Xavier.
I don't care about Xavier.
Oh, yeah, I don't know about UC. Xavier's going to the Sweet 16. I don't think UC is.
I just said I haven't been following UC's March Madness journey. I literally do not care about Xavier.
I am sleep deprived.
So we got the deal with 13 Below is they have a permanent food truck.
Yep.
It's a barbecue.
It's the Incline Smoke Shack.
Yes, barbecue and mac and cheese, and you would think, the toddlers would love it. Chips and barbecue sauce. You would think that toddlers would love that.
They usually do.
Yeah, and usually we have a high chair. They do have high chairs.
They do.
But
you can't really use a high chair when your table is
like 3 feet tall. Yeah,
2.5 feet tall.
2 feet tall. Yeah. So the high chair would be taller than the table. So yeah, that didn't work. Not ideal. Again, we were very dumb.
Yeah, we probably should have just gotten to go beers, gotten to go food, and just gone home. Maybe next time that's what we'll do, but probably not.
Yeah, maybe we'll learn. But okay, so we were like, okay, we'll try it. So we had 2 toddlers loose while we were waiting for dinner. You had a beer, I had a beer.
Mm-hmm.
There was a little girl, a couple little girls actually. They had their little corner, like coloring corner.
Yeah.
So the kids were interested in that.
And one of the little girls was soon to be a big sister because her parents were the ones who were the honorees of said baby shower.
Oh, yeah.
And the dad literally told me, yeah, we're going to make her share with your kids because your kids are going to help be her test dummy for being a sister.
Okay.
Because I was like, you guys don't have, she doesn't have to share her toys. And they're like, no, she needs to start learning though because new baby.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm glad I could help, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm glad our kids could help. So, yeah, so we got the dinner and kids just weren't interested.
Not at all. To the point that Elliot was way more interested in his little lunch box or his little pencil case full of snacks. As I was trying to get my food from Joe, he opened up his pencil case of snacks very aggressively and knocked my beer into my shoe.
And pants.
And pants and floor and sadness.
Yeah, so you lost your beer.
I did.
And it went on your shoe and pants. And then you were like, I want to go.
I would like to go home now.
So,
I am not having a good time anymore.
Yeah. We didn't leave. So I ate. I'm a quick eater. So I eat. And then, you cleaned up or whatever. And then we danced with the band.
Yes, the kids had a blast.
Because the band started playing and that gave you opportunity to eat. And then we got not a 6-pack, but a 4-pack. And then we left.
Yep.
So that was our dumb adventure to...
With some of our dignity still intact.
Yes.
Maybe. But like considering all of our adventures, we've been doing real good on the spilled beer front.
Well, yeah. Elliot was trying to get back at me for spilling beer on him. Or I guess he spilled beer on him. I don't quite remember. But we spilled beer on Elliot. So he was trying to...
He's like, take that. Ha.
To get us back, yeah. This was over Christmas, and we went to Warped Wing out in Mason.
Oh, yeah.
After the trains.
After Entertainment Junction.
That was also probably really dumb.
I mean, Warped Wing actually went pretty well.
Lily was
the one that was a little bit more of a hot mess, I think.
was cuckoo. He was in his high chair.
Yeah.
But
that was when we could still kind of contain him.
Yeah.
That ship has sailed.
Yeah, if he doesn't want to sit in his high chair, he just won't. Like, there's nothing, we can't force him.
Nope.
He knows all the tricks. Going limp, standing up. He knows how to unbuckle buckles.
Yeah, he figured that one out just out of sheer desperation.
And yeah, he can just stand up, which is very inconvenient.
It does make dining out harder. Sometimes you end up with a toddler sitting in your lap and you don't get to eat your food until you can convince the toddler to sit in someone else's lap.
Well, yeah, because we did that this week already.
Yeah.
And we didn't have food again. That's a different story, though.
Yeah.
But on St. Patrick's Day, you had an adventure with the kids.
Yes. So Lily had her St. Patrick's Day concert at school. So I took off work in the morning so I could go to her concert. The preschool kids sang 2 songs. I think she might have sang a song total. They were very overwhelmed because the whole school was sitting behind them. So, like, they thought that they were, like, so they could stand up to sing. And then all of a sudden you've got, like, 200 kids behind you singing a song. And you're like, oh, I did not know that was going to happen. Wait, you guys are singing. I want to listen to you guys. And then she was making silly faces. Still not quite sure what was up with that. But, I mean, she did real good. She stayed in her spot.
This was the entire school, right?
Yes, it was the entire school, preschool through 8th grade. So it was like a ton.
A lot of kids.
Yeah, a ton of kids.
And they didn't rehearse.
No.
Together.
So, like, the preschoolers did not exactly know it was going to happen.
I mean, you can't rehearse that.
Yeah, you really can't. So we got to see Lily before she performed. She's like, Mama, Bubba.
So you took the day off.
I took a half day.
You took the morning off.
Yeah, I took the morning off for it.
And you brought Elliot with you.
Yep, and he did not want to stay contained.
So
he tried to make some new friends though.
So backtrack a little bit. You drop Lily off at 7:30 or whatever.
Yeah. Ideally, that is what time I drop Lily off. It's more like
7:50.
3 minutes before she's late.
Yeah. So 7:50, 7:45, you drop her off with Elliot in the car.
Yeah.
You had the morning off. And where did you go with Elliot?
Well, because it didn't make sense to drive home, we went to Aroma's coffee shop.
Because the program started at 9.
Yeah, which was, I mean, I guess that makes sense. It was frustrating because it's like, okay, I can't like go anywhere after I drop her off. And
yeah.
I have a 2-year-old. I can't just hang out in the school parking lot.
Yeah, most parents, they don't drop their kids off, I would imagine. I would imagine the bus takes them, and then the parents just show up at 9 or whatever.
St. Al's doesn't have buses. So most of the kids are dropped off by friends or family. So we go to the coffee shop. We listen to a bunch of, call it the Old Man Club. Bunch of guys in the Old Man Club sitting at the table behind ours, telling dad jokes.
That's their self-proclaimed title.
No, that's what I call them. I'm sure they have some kind of unofficial title.
Okay.
But it's a bunch of dudes that are all retired and hang out at Aromas in the morning. Got to hear them tell some dad jokes to each other. One of them showed up in a kilt, and there were some comments about that. Fortunately, he wasn't a true Scotsman because he was wearing pants under his kilt. Otherwise, that could have been bad. And Elliot enjoyed his zucchini bread and my egg croissant. Because I almost ordered a sausage, egg, and cheese croissant. And then I remembered that it was Friday and I wasn't supposed to do that. So I just got the egg croissant. And Elliot actually ate the eggs.
You did?
He did. And asked for more. Which never happens because he's 2. And he doesn't know what he wants.
Imagine that.
Yeah. So we get to the school about 5 to 10 minutes before the performance. Managed to say hi to Lily. Get a seat where we can kind of see Lily when she stands up. And get to hear the 8th graders talk about St. Patrick's Day. And then they do their 2 songs that the little kids are doing. And then the preschool just gets to sit and watch the rest of the kids sing their songs. And so then they take the preschool students off to the side so the bigger kids don't run them all over. And we got to say hi to Lily and meet some of her classmates. And Elliot was very happy to see his big sister. And he wanted to make friends with all of her friends. He brought his Nia Thomas the Tank Engine train and was showing her to everybody. Oh, there was a girl who was about a month older than him that was sitting behind us, who was also there to see her older sibling. He tried to share snacks with her, and she tried to share snacks with him.
Aww.
And then she showed him her frozen Crocs. Her frozen Crocs. She had Elsa on her Crocs.
Are they going to be classmates?
Potentially, I guess.
Wow.
And I forgot to send Lily back to school in her little St. Patrick's Day headband that they had made.
Oh, no. But
fortunately, her teacher made her one. And then she told me all about how her teacher had to make her a headband. And now she has 2 headbands, one for home and one for school.
Lily told you this?
Yes.
Oh.
But then her teacher sent her home with the other one. So I don't know. But she put it in her backpack. So I took it out of her backpack like a good mom. And then I was like, oh, wait, I probably should have left that in your backpack as we were driving to school. But
no instructions were given.
They were not given. And so the different classes had different headband colors. So Lily's class was yellow. So you could tell the different classes apart from each other.
How many classes were there? You mean grades?
No, the preschool classes. There's 5 or 6 preschool classes. I think there's 6 preschool classes. Because there's 3 whole day and half day, 4 whole day and half day, and then pre-K whole day and half day.
Okay. So just the preschoolers had hats.
Yes. The elementary school kids got to wear whatever they wanted to school. That was green. Lily was in her adorable St. Patrick's Day dress that she was very happy to show off.
Yeah.
Oh. So we got to say hi, chit chat with her friends for a little bit, and then they went to take the preschoolers back, but the gym was still a hot mess. So Lily's teacher was at the start of the line, and I think it was the 4-year-old half-day class teacher was at the end of the line because they just combined their 2 classes and said, we'll go across the way together. And somewhere in the middle, the line kept breaking up. And I was leaving with Elliot, so I was like, I'll just be the back of your line, and I'll help make sure that everybody like continues moving forward if you like pick up the stragglers in the middle. And I helped them get to the cafeteria where things were less chaotic, so then they could go across the parking lot to the preschool, or I guess the driveway.
Okay.
And apparently I could have taken Lily home then and there, but I was like, no, she can stay with class. Like, all of her stuff's in the classroom anyway. Just send her back to class. So then they made a leprechaun trap that morning. And so the leprechaun came while they were at the concert, and they did not catch the leprechaun.
Oh.
But the leprechaun did leave them chocolate gold coins.
Oh, that was good. Did Lily eat the gold coin? Where are these gold coins?
She ate hers.
Okay.
She said that they used glue and gold coins and sparkles to try to catch their leprechaun.
Ugh. And they didn't catch him.
Nope.
See, this is new. I don't remember catching leprechauns for St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah, I think I like vaguely recall in 5th grade, maybe we did something with leprechaun traps. Maybe. Well, I was at a different school. So it was maybe like the younger kids did something with leprechaun traps, but like I don't really remember leprechaun traps being like a thing.
So is this like a continuation of like Elf on the Shelf?
It is similar to Elf on the Shelf, I guess.
Yeah.
So it's like you come up with some kind of way to catch your leprechaun, and in the middle of the night, you may or may not catch your leprechaun, and they may or may not leave you something behind. That too much.
Yeah, I don't remember doing anything for St. Patrick's Day other than wearing green.
We do Easter, we do birthdays, we do St. Nick's Day, and we do Christmas. Those are our major, like, you get some kind of gift holidays. St. Patrick's Day. I'm tired. Maybe one year I'll be like super gung-ho into it when both the kids understand what's going on, but
I don't even understand. Like, what do leprechauns have to do with St. Patrick?
Ireland. Apparently Lily would wish for a pizza man if she caught a leprechaun, though that has since changed because when I asked her yesterday what she would wish for, she said cookies.
That's your daughter.
It is totally my daughter.
What was she? So you guys were make-believing yesterday? You guys were make-believing yesterday.
Yes. I was the baby and she was the mommy. And so Joe actually went into the office. So I got home and I got to figure out what we're gonna do for dinner. And Elliot's being a grumpy butt lately. He might be getting in more teeth. That might be our biggest problem right now.
He's been getting in more teeth for like 2 weeks.
They're molars though. Like the only teeth he has left to get in are molars, and those are rough. Because you got 4 points on each tooth where that thing's coming in.
He's been drooling a lot.
Yeah. So Lily then informs me that I am the baby and she is the mommy. And I said, oh, so does that mean that you're going to make dinner? And she said, yes. And I said, sweet. Okay, you go make dinner then. What are we having for dinner? And she said, crunchy cookies. And I said, okay, you have fun making that. What do you need to make crunchy cookies? She said she needed milk, water, cake, and there was something else. But I know milk, water, and cake were at least 3 of the ingredients that she needed to make these crunchy cookies. We had spaghetti and meatballs. Joe made spaghetti and meatballs.
I saw this TikTok. I don't have TikTok, but I saw someone shared it of this girl who was going to make fresh pasta.
Oh.
So she emptied a box of spaghetti, like what we made,
Mm-hmm.
into a blender. She blended it together. So it was just a bunch of like crumbs of
pasta crumbs.
And then she added an egg to it.
There is egg in pasta sometimes. Usually, I don't remember.
Well,
I've watched videos on how to make pasta. I have never actually made pasta. Would I like to at some point?
I feel dumber.
Maybe.
I feel dumber after watching this video.
Uh-huh.
Like literally, I feel like my IQ has dropped after watching this video. So she took a box of pasta. She blended it. She added, I guess, water and egg.
Mm-hmm.
And she rolled it out, made it like dough or whatever. And then she cut it with a pizza cutter.
Like into fettuccine noodles.
And then she boiled it.
Which is how you cook pasta, yeah.
Yeah, but you don't make pasta from pasta.
No, you just use flour.
It's fucking ridiculous.
A little bit. See, meanwhile...
TikTok is making us dumber.
So meanwhile, I watched a video this morning that we all felt to our core at work. It's a nurse. She's just gotten off her shift. She gets home. She's talking to her friend, and she says, yeah, I almost had a patient die on me today. And the friend's like, oh my goodness, that's terrible. What happened? She's like, oh, I counted to 10 and put away the scissors, and the patient never knew she was going to die. And the friend's just like, what? Meanwhile, one of our coworkers is just trying to get on all of our nerves to the point that we all murder him. He just likes to push buttons, so then we push his buttons, and it's just a never-ending cycle of button pushing. But yeah, he's tried a few times to not live to see tomorrow.
Wait a second. So the nurse got home from work and she was talking to a friend?
Yes. And she said, I almost had a patient die on me today.
Okay.
And the friend's like, oh my goodness, what happened? And the nurse says, well, I counted to 10 and I put away the scissors and the patient never knew she was going to die. Because like the patient was annoying her. So she was going to stab said patient with the scissors.
That's psychotic.
These are jokes, Joe. These are jokes.
That's psychotic.
Meanwhile, I have a coworker at work who tests my patience and desire to not go to jail every day. This is what this guy will do. If I go to check on his area to see how things are doing, he'll say, no, everything's running good. Don't come over here. Leave us alone. Don't be touching anything. And then 20 minutes later, he'll be like, where were you? Where are you? Like, why aren't you over here? You literally told me to go away 20 minutes ago. Why would I come back? Or like, if I check on them first thing in the morning, he's all like, ah. And then if I like wait 20 minutes because I got caught into doing something else and then come say hi, he's like, where were you? Why didn't you check on us first thing? Like, we could have been down. I checked the board. I knew you weren't down.
Can't say his name. Can you?
He's going to retire. He knows that he is on thin ice.
I cracked open another beer.
You did.
So this is a Magic Beans Coffee Stout by West 6 Brewing Company. They're based in Lexington, Kentucky. And it is 7.2% ABV. So
basically, like, the point of my story is count to 10, take 5 deep breaths, and remind yourself they're not worth the jail time. They're not worth the jail time.
Is this your twisted tea tip?
My twisted tea tip of the week. Count to 10 and remind yourself they're not worth the jail time.
Because we're not getting one this week.
Nope. I don't know. Maybe we are. Josh was on Truth, Beer, and Consequences today. So we'll see what he is contributing to the TPB episode of the week that I think we might be one of the only podcasts that they're going to talk about.
There is a new podcast called Blake the Brewery Explorer.
Mm-hmm.
He's a Cincinnati-based person, podcaster, new podcaster. But he's in the 513 craft beer group or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
His podcast is only on Spotify, though.
Which is a problem because I don't do Spotify.
I don't do Spotify either. So I'm not going to download. No offense, but I'm not going to download.
When it's somewhere else and I can get it on my phone without having to download another app.
Yeah. But yeah, you can listen to it on Spotify. There's a chance it might be on YouTube as well. But from what I read, he talked to Mattree, the brewer at Mattree. So that might be something that Truth Beer Pod listens and recaps.
Could be. We shall see.
If they have Spotify.
Yeah, I'm not sure what podcatchers they use. Gotta catch 'em all.
Yeah. The whole point of a podcast is the RSS feed. It's supposed to be decentralized, right?
Yeah.
But of course, Spotify doesn't want it to be decentralized. They want it to be exclusive.
They want them dollar bills.
Yeah. Which, it's not the point of podcasting.
No. I mean, I just had to scoop money into the trash last week, though, because we had so much money we didn't know what to do with it. We're just rolling in the dough over here.
You could give us money at our Buy Me a Coffee account.
Yeah. Or just come hang out with us somewhere around town and buy us a beer. That works, too.
We'll be 13 below with these rowdy kids.
Yeah.
On Saturday evening. Being really dumb.
I mean, there were a lot of kids there, though, so...
There were a lot of kids. I was very surprised. And dogs.
Yeah, lots of dogs.
Dogs and kids and bands and... Wow, I've never seen that place so busy. And good for them.
Yeah.
Of course, it was too cold to go outside, though. So.
It was, because that was like the backup plan was like, well, we can always go outside.
Yeah, they have a really nice back door area and front door area. But it was too cold.
A little bit.
Is there anything else you wanted to say? We're just kind of rambling on. I'm trying to get to the hour mark. This beer, by the way, it's a coffee stout. Very good. Very smooth. Beer's about a year old. Almost a year old.
I mean, it happens.
Because someone impulse bought.
There was a sale.
We've
been drinking it. It's fine.
Bought like four 6-packs.
Hey, it's fine.
It is a really good beer. So props to West 6. I don't really get as much coffee though.
Well, I mean, it's probably it's getting on a year old now.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
It's like, wait, your cousin's been married for almost a year now. Whoops.
Yeah, we went down there in May last year.
Yeah.
And it's currently March. Yeah, I'm about at 60 minutes.
We should probably just call it because I need to go to bed.
Well, that does it for this week's show. Thanks so much for listening. Make sure to like, follow, and subscribe to us on social media. We are on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at Craft Parenting Podcast.
If you like what you hear, please leave us a rating and review on Apple Podcasts or your podcatcher of choice. It's what helps the show grow.
Well, speaking of YouTube, we are at 9,000 views.
Oh, snap.
I don't know how. I don't know why. But people want us on the YouTube.
Don't question it. Just accept it and roll with it.
Yeah. I might have another video.
Oh, snap.
I have to edit it. I will also release the audio of that video on the feed because we have, anyway. You can also get a hold of us via email, which is craftparentingpodcast@gmail.com. And we have a website, www.craftparentingpodcast.com.
That's where we post the show notes, plus eventually blog posts again, maybe.
And I am at Craft Parenting Joe on Instagram.
And I am at Caroline Creates Crafts.
And with that, I'm Joe.
And I'm Caroline.
See you next time on the Craft Parenting Podcast.
Bye.